The Nazi Plan for the World. The Nazi regime, led by Adolf Hitler from 1933 to 1945, pursued an aggressive and expansive vision for the world. Rooted in extreme nationalist, racist, and totalitarian ideologies, the Nazis sought to reshape Europe and, ultimately, the global order according to their beliefs. Their plans were outlined in various speeches, policy documents, and the infamous book, Mein Kampf, as well as through their actions during World War II. Ideological Foundations. Racial hierarchy. Central to Nazi ideology was the belief in the superiority of the so-called Aryan race and the inferiority of other groups, particularly Jews, Slavs, Roma, and others. This racial hierarchy justified policies of discrimination, persecution, and ultimately genocide. Lebensraum, living space. The concept of Lebensraum was a driving force behind Nazi expansionism. The Nazis believed that the German people needed more territory to thrive, which they intended to acquire by conquering Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union. This would involve the displacement, enslavement, or extermination of local populations. Totalitarian control. The Nazis aimed to establish a totalitarian state, controlling all aspects of life, including politics, culture, education, and the economy. Dissent was brutally suppressed, and loyalty to Hitler and the Nazi Party was demanded. Plans for Europe. Conquest and colonization. The Nazis planned to conquer vast territories in Eastern Europe, including Poland, Ukraine, and Russia. These areas were to be colonized by Germans, while the existing populations would be subjected to forced labor, displacement, or extermination. The General Plan Ost. The General Plan Ost was a secret Nazi plan for the colonization of Central and Eastern Europe. It called for the removal or extermination of tens of millions of people to make way for German settlers. The plan included the mass murder of Jews, Slavs, and other groups deemed undesirable, the forced displacement of millions, the Germanization of select populations considered racially acceptable, the Holocaust. The systematic extermination of Jews, known as the Holocaust, was a central component of the Nazi plan. 6 million Jews were murdered, along with millions of others, including Roma, disabled individuals, Poles, Soviet prisoners of war, and others. Global ambitions, alliances and influence. While the Nazis focused primarily on Europe, their ambitions extended globally. They sought alliances with fascist regimes in Italy and Japan, envisioning a world divided among authoritarian powers. Long-term vision. Had the Nazis succeeded in their European conquests, they intended to expand their influence further, challenging the British Empire, the United States, and other powers. Nazi propaganda depicted a future where Germany dominated Europe and exerted global influence. Economic and cultural control. Economic exploitation. The Nazis planned to exploit the resources and labor of conquered territories to fuel the German war machine and economy. This included the seizure of land, raw materials, and the use of forced labor. Cultural suppression. The regime aimed to suppress and eliminate cultures, languages, and traditions that did not align with Nazi ideology. German culture and language were to be imposed on conquered peoples. Conclusion. The Nazi plan for the world was rooted in racist, expansionist, and totalitarian ideologies. It envisioned a Europe dominated by Germany, with vast territories cleared of their populations and repopulated by Germans. The ultimate goal was a new world order based on Nazi principles, enforced through violence, oppression, and genocide. The defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945 prevented these plans from being fully realized, but the consequences of their actions remain a stark warning of the dangers of extremist ideologies. Hitler people are here in the White House.